Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so if you've ever ordered anything really, a couch, groceries, computer parts, you're plugging into this huge kind of invisible logistics system, mostly trucks. And today we're going to peel back the curtain a bit on a quiet revolution happening right there, behind the scenes. We're not diving into like autonomous trucks or the really futuristic hype today. Nope. We're focusing on tech that's making a massive impact right now. It's called digital freight matching, or DFM for short. So yeah, our mission is basically to look at the sources you sent over and really figure out how this DFM stuff is changing the game, the relationships between shippers, carriers, how goods move, making it faster, smarter, and, this is important, fairer too.
Right. And to really get why DFM matters, you kind of have to picture the old way. It was really manual. For decades, getting a shipment arrangement, well, long negotiations, lots of brokers, tons of phone calls, sometimes actual paper contracts.
Paper, seriously.
Oh, yeah. So booking a truck, finding a load, it wasn't just slow. It was super inefficient. We're talking maybe 4 hours, sometimes more, just to get one thing booked.
4 hours just haggling back and forth. That sounds like a massive bottleneck.
Exactly. So DFM is basically the digital answer to cut through all that friction. It's about enabling like almost instant freight movement you can trust. It's huge, but nobody really talks about it.
Okay, let's break it down then. What is digital freight matching, fundamentally? I saw one source describe it almost like a dating app, but for trucks and cargo.
That's actually a pretty good analogy, yeah, because it's all about that instant connection, right? DFM platforms, they basically connect shippers.
Right.
The folks needing stuff moved with carriers, so drivers and trucking companies with empty trucks, instantly. They use these pretty sophisticated algorithms and real-time data to just cut out all those slow middle steps.
Yeah.
That's really the core of it.
So it's matching loads to trucks automatically.
Pretty much. And platforms you might have heard of, like Uber Freight, Convoy, LoadSmart, they're all big players in this space. And they don't just look at location. The algorithms scan a whole bunch of things all at once, the type of shipment, the weight, pickup, drop-off points, obviously, but also stuff like, compliance, insurance details, the truck's actual capacity, its schedule, it's complex.
So it's finding the best match, not just any match nearby. And super fast, like in seconds.
Exactly.
Oh.
And what's really interesting, like you mentioned from the sources, is how it goes beyond just static info now. It's getting predictive.
So AI is coming into play here.
That's right. It's not just looking at current data. The smarter DFM systems pull in external factors too. Think AI models predicting road conditions, potential weather delays, even historical delivery times for certain routes. So it's not just finding an available truck, it's finding the truck that's most likely to get there on time. It boosts efficiency, cuts risk for the shipper. It's pretty smart stuff.
Okay, so the speed is one thing. But you mentioned trust earlier and how this changes relationships. That's fascinating. The old way was all about, knowing a guy, right? Long contracts, handshakes, trust built over years.
Yeah, that foundation is definitely shifting. It used to be very personal. You trusted Bob's trucking because, well, Bob always came through. Now, trust is becoming much more digital. It's driven by data, transparent performance metrics, checking their history instantly, seeing proof of timely deliveries.
So you can see their track record right away.
Right. When you can instantly pull up a carrier's on-time percentage, their safety rating, how often they actually accept loads, speed, and that verified performance, that's kind of the new basis for reliability.
That sounds great for shippers, getting that instant check. But what about the carriers, especially like the smaller owner-operators? Did they get squeezed out before?
That's a really key point. Historically, yeah, small carriers definitely struggled. It was hard to compete against the giant fleets with those locked-in long-term deals. But DFM really levels the playing field. It democratizes the opportunity.
How so?
Because the platform's algorithm, it prioritizes the best fit for that specific load efficiency, reliability, the right equipment, not just how big the company is. So a single owner operator, if they have a fantastic performance record, they can now compete head-to-head with a company that has 1,000 trucks. It makes it much more about merit.
Okay, but hold on. If it's all data and algorithms, doesn't that just lead to everyone fighting over price? A race to the bottom. If every small carrier can bid, won't shippers just pick the absolute cheapest option?
That's a fair question, and it highlights why transparency in pricing is so crucial with DFM. See the old broker model. Rates could be really opaque. You didn't always know what the carrier got versus the broker. DFM platforms tend to show the carrier exactly what they'll earn, often based on real-time market rates.
So the price isn't hidden.
Exactly. That visibility helps stop that extreme downward pressure on price. Carriers see the rate upfront, they see the road, they know their costs, and they can decide instantly if it works for them. And shippers benefit too. They see dynamic market-based prices instead of going through long negotiations. It's faster, more competitive, and usually means fewer hidden fees. Builds more trust, actually.
Okay, so we've talked relationships, trust, access. Let's shift to the really concrete stuff, the operational wins, cost, time. And you mentioned the environment. This is where it gets really interesting, right?
Absolutely. Operationally, probably the single biggest win is tackling empty miles, or deadhead, as it's called in the industry.
Empty miles, trucks driving around with nothing in the back.
Exactly. And it's a huge problem. Sources suggest it could be anywhere from, say, 15% up to maybe 25% of all truck miles driven.
Right.
That's just massive waste. Fuel, maintenance, driver time, billions of dollars down the drain each year.
15 to 25%. Wow, that's staggering. So how does DFM hit that specific problem?
It comes down to that real-time tracking and instant matching again. Or think about the old way. A driver drops a load in, say, Chicago. They might then spend a day, maybe 2 days, just making calls, trying to find anything, heading back towards their home base in Dallas. Lots of waiting, lots of uncertainty.
Right, wasted time.
Totally. With DFM, the moment that truck signals it's empty in Chicago, the platform's algorithm is already working. It's likely already identified potential backhaul loads going towards Dallas, matching the truck's specs, the driver's preferences on rate, and can offer it almost instantly.
So it fills the truck for the return journey much faster.
Much faster. And cutting those empty miles, it's this fantastic dual benefit. First, carriers make more money. Those miles that used to earn zero, now they're potentially profitable. And second, huge environmental plus. Fewer trucks driving empty means less fuel burned, lower carbon emissions. It's a direct, measurable win for sustainability in the supply chain. Really significant.
That efficiency boost must ripple through everything. You mentioned automation earlier and integrating with TMS, transportation management systems. Can you unpack TMS a bit for listeners, maybe not in logistics?
Sure. Think of a TMS as like the command center for a company's shipping operations. It handles planning routes, tracking shipments, managing inventory, dealing with documents, all that operational stuff.
Okay, the central hub.
Exactly. And DFM platforms are built to plug right into those existing TMS systems. They talk to each other seamlessly, so the data just flows automatically. From booking the load to tracking it in or out, right through to getting paid. You're replacing those 4 hours of phone calls and manual data entry with maybe 3 or 4 clicks in a system.
That simplification must be huge for everyone involved. Can you maybe list out the key administrative upgrades DFM brings?
Yeah, definitely. So first, like we said, near instant booking. That just speeds everything up from the start. Second, all that automation means way less manual work, less typing data, fewer errors, almost no need for those "where's my truck?" phone calls because the tracking is often built in. Third, you get dynamic pricing. Rates adjust based on what's happening in the market right now so they stay competitive.
Makes sense.
And fourth, a big one, digital payments and documents. Invoicing used to be a real headache, lots of paperwork. Now it's often automated. Carriers get paid faster, shippers have less admin burden.
And that faster payment probably ties back into loyalty, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It reinforces that data-driven loyalty we talked about. If a platform is easy to use, finds you good loads, and pays you quickly and reliably, carriers are going to prioritize working with them. Performance gets rewarded directly.
So the performance data feeds back, creating loyalty based on merit, not just who you know. The system rewards being good at the job.
Precisely. Loyalty used to be this slow build, based on relationships over years. Now, it's still important, but it's also much more immediate, much more merit-based. Carriers who consistently deliver on time have good safety records, accept loads reliably. The platforms often give them first crack at the best loads, the highest paying ones, the most convenient routes. It creates this positive feedback loop. Good performance leads to better opportunities, which encourages continued good performance. It naturally lifts the quality standard across the whole industry.
Okay, so pulling this all together, we've gone through the tech, the efficiency gains, the changing relationships. What's the big takeaway here? Let's circle back to that idea of human-centered improvements.
Yeah, I think the core message really is that DFM tech isn't about replacing people, it's about empowering them. Behind every single digital match, every algorithm, there's still a real driver making that trip, a dispatcher coordinating, a customer waiting for something important. And what DFM does is reduce the friction and the stress for those people. Fewer empty miles means more predictable income for drivers. Less paperwork means less time stuck doing admin. Transparent pricing means fewer nasty surprises. It just makes the whole process, the whole job, hopefully more sustainable and more profitable for the humans actually doing the work.
And ultimately, when that supply chain runs smoother with less waste, it benefits all of us, right? As consumers, goods to get to us faster, maybe costs come down a bit because of the efficiency, things are just more reliable. It really does feel like this transition from, I don't know, those slow, uncertain handshake deals to these faster, transparent, data-backed partnerships that are just built for how fast everything moves today. DFM feels like this quiet but really powerful engine just transforming how we move everything around the world.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into digital freight matching today. Really fascinating stuff.
My pleasure. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. If DFM builds these strong partnerships based almost purely on transparent data, performance, merit, what does that ultimately mean for the value of those old school, long-term personal relationships that used to be the bedrock of this industry? Are we heading towards a future where loyalty is purely transactional, purely algorithmic? Or is there still a core place for that human connection alongside the data? Something to think about.
Definitely something to ponder next time you're tracking a package. Until next time, keep digging deeper.